welcome back to On Your Truth. I am Briana Johnson. You're currently listening to or watching episode number 8. And today I have the honor and the privilege to have Kweku Prapra from Ghana visiting today as my guest. He is originally from Ghana, but he is now living in the United States, in New York, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, New York City, yeah. Brooklyn to be specific.
Okay. And I have done episodes before talking about my beliefs on the United States. I have been born and raised here and lived here my entire life, and I do have a lot of friends overseas. And we talk a lot about the difference between the reality of living in the United States and what is portrayed to foreign countries. Now, a lot of times it's portrayed that America is the land of opportunity. Anyone and everyone can get rich here. The land of milk and honey. And the analogies go on and on and on. If you're broke and poor in another country, you need to come here. You can make a living. All of your dreams can come true. But the reality is that not only is that not entirely true, there is a slim possibility that can happen. But the reality is that there's a high death rate here in this country. We do have racism. We do have police brutality. We have a large population of poor people, a lot of mentally ill. There are people struggling to get by from paycheck to paycheck. And now because of COVID, a lot of families have been displaced and are living on the street. And even though that's something that our country doesn't want the world to know, it is a true fact. And so when I talk to my friends overseas in any other country, I give it to them straight. I don't sugarcoat any of that. You moved here when you were 20 years old, and you told me that both of your parents lived here. Did that influence your decision to come here, the fact that you knew that your parents were here?
Yeah, that definitely was a motivating factor for me. With the influence, I saw an opportunity to make life better relatively based on what we're talking about in terms of career opportunities, in terms of life opportunities to create something for myself. I saw that with the opportunities that they have, especially my father coming from a place of higher education, that became a motivating factor for me. Of course, there are a lot of opportunities in terms of educational institutions. So with a broad opportunities available in terms of higher education, I saw an opportunity here in America, just from the influence and the factors that was exposed to me from my father in particular, because he had an opportunity to go to school here to get his PhD and teaching in a university. So it became a motivating factor for me.
And that's actually quite helpful, honestly. I know that usually when a parent is in the educational system, then it creates additional opportunities for their children. And so your father being a professor possibly had the opportunity for you to have free or reduced tuition. Were you able to take advantage of that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, rather than stay in Ghana and, paying or even coming to America and going to another school, I thought, hey, tuition remission is just great opportunity. It's like a win-win. First, having an opportunity to school in the United States. On top of it, going to a university where my parent was teaching. So I had to take advantage of the tuition remission to potentially save costs and not have a ridiculous amount of student loans, because that happened to be a private school. So you know how it is with private schools.
So tell me a little bit about your educational experience. Were you welcomed? I mean, you were a foreigner coming here from this country. Did you experience any kind of, and it might have been different since it was a private institution, I don't know. Did you experience a lot of racism because of your color or because of the country that you came from?
Not necessarily or not directly. I happen to go to a predominantly Caucasian institution, which is, most of the time I find myself to be the only person of color in the class, and not just that, coming from a whole different country. So I happen to be like the only international student and a person of color. So two different things. So I experienced some microaggressions. Microaggressions could be defined in different ways. It could be that because I'm a foreigner, because I have a different accent, and because of my skin color. So it could be a variety of things. So I could not necessarily pinpoint, or I could not necessarily tell if somebody's really being stereotypical, prejudiced, or racism. But I can define it as a microaggression towards me just because of, the factors that I mentioned.
Sure.
Yes.
So what did you study in school?